next, our main event. 10 rounds of middleweight action as the pride of Providence, Peter Manfredo Jr., fights for the first time in over 2 years in his home state to take on Colombia's Jhon Berrio. Manfredo enters with a record of 35 wins and 6 losses, 19 of his wins coming by way of knockout. Jhon Berrio with a record of 15 and 7, 11 of his wins coming by way of knockout. Mark, 2 years ago, when Peter Manfredo last fought in Rhode Island and was blown out in 3 rounds in a super middleweight fight against Sakio Bika, a lot of people, including Peter himself, thought that his career as a professional boxer was over. However, since then, he's dropped down from the super middleweight to the middleweight division and is on an extended winning streak and has Jhon Berrio tonight. He really has taken an interesting road to becoming relevant again after it looked like he was in the dumps following the Bika loss.
You know, Peter has really reinvented himself. I've always felt as though Peter belonged at middleweight. Super middleweight was just too big for him. These guys at 168 pounds walk around 195, 200 pounds. They've got a big frame. Peter's not a big frame guy. He's a natural middleweight. It's the right weight for him. As he's shown, he's going to be much more effective down at middleweight than he is at 168.
And while Peter Manfredo may have been fighting a weight division too high against the super middleweights, aside from Bika, he fought against Jeff Lacey and Joe Calzaghe, just some real killers at 168 pounds. Tonight, he might be playing the role of the bigger guy. Jhon Berrio has fought most of his career at junior middleweight, where he won the Colombian junior middleweight title in his native country, and he's moving up in weight tonight for the opportunity to fight Manfredo.
Yeah, it's really it's a good opportunity for Peter. He's, you know, for once he's the big guy in the ring. Berrio is a tough guy. You know, he's very, very game, and you know, he's going to give Peter all he can handle. But Peter is definitely the bigger, stronger man in this fight.
The last time a Colombian fighter was in a headlining bout here at the Twin River Casino in Lincoln, Rhode Island. It was when Jose Luis Herrera, moving up in weight from the super middleweight to cruiserweight division, fought the then undefeated prospect Aaron Williams. Aaron Williams was thought to be a star in the making. However, Jose Luis Herrera ruined any plans of that happening that night. After being dropped in the first round, Herrera went on to stop Aaron Williams, who was red hot at the time, in the 6th round. Will Jhon Berrio put a damper on the hopes and dreams of Peter Manfredo Jr.? Will he be the second Colombian in recent memory to come into this venue and stop the guy who is supposed to win?
It's an interesting question, and these Colombians, they all come in, you know, with great knockout percentages in their fight. You know, in this particular case, style-wise, Berrio's a good puncher. He's not a devastating puncher like Herrera was. You know, Peter Manfredo's a good, solid, slick boxer. Sometimes he does get sucked into standing there and slugging. If he gets into a slugfest with Berrio, then Berrio's definitely got a shot to win. Berrio will not outbox Peter Manfredo. It's Peter's fight to win or lose. If he wants to give Berrio his one opportunity, and that's stand there and slug with him, then Berrio can win the fight. If Peter boxes, he stays cool, and he shows to be the slick, intelligent, smart, seasoned fighter that he is, he should be able to outbox Jhon Berrio and perhaps even stop him late in the fight.
Yeah, oftentimes Peter Manfredo wears on his trunks the words Italian warrior, and he'll admit that sometimes he gets caught up in that mentality of trying to stand toe-to-toe and slug with guys when it's not to his benefit to do that.
No, it's certainly, and it's not necessary for Peter. I think Peter just basically enjoys standing there and slugging. You know, it's fun, and he enjoys standing there and making a fight of it. He doesn't have to do that. He certainly can, and at the lighter weight divisions, you know, he's strong enough to do that. He's got a great chin, but he doesn't have to. Peter's a very smart fighter. For a young fella, he's been boxing professionally for over 10 years, and he is capable of boxing very effectively when he wants to.
And after the loss to Sakio Bika, it was reported in the papers, and accurately reported, that Peter Manfredo had gotten a job outside of boxing. He was working as a laborer at the Dunkin' Donuts Center, a place where he, at least on 3 times in his career, has headlined on national television. He also took training to become an EMT in an ambulance, and a lot of people said, does Peter Manfredo Jr. want to do boxing anymore, or is he looking for other avenues to go with his professional life? Peter Manfredo Jr. said yesterday at the press conference, everyone's been hearing about me getting a job. Guess what? boxing is my job. And he made it clear that this is what he wants to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I interviewed Peter recently as well, and he's taking his career very, very seriously. He always has, though. I mean, Peter's always been, the consummate professional. He works hard in the gym. He's fought tough guys. When Peter Manfredo loses a fight, it's not to somebody that he's not supposed to lose to. It's to somebody that he is supposed to lose to, and at that, he's usually extremely competitive. He's not a guy that's going to get upset, by a guy that's just an opponent sort of fighter. Peter comes in prepared every time out, and he doesn't have a long time left in his career. He's been boxing since he was 6 years old. He wants to make the best of it for what he has left. He's got a few good years left.
The lights are dimmed here at the Twin River Event Center in Lincoln, Rhode Island, as a career highlights package of Peter Manfredo's boxing career is playing to the in-house crowd in attendance. Once again, you're watching NESportsTV.com. Peter Czymbor and Mark Vaz ringside. Another thing about these Colombian fighters, we've talked about how quite often they have exceptionally high knockout percentages, and sometimes we find out that their knockout power is real. A guy like Jhon Berrio, you look at his record, he hasn't fought anyone the caliber of Peter Manfredo Jr., and he's even lost to lesser guys.
Yeah, exactly. This is a big step up for him. He fought an undefeated Russian Olympian in his last fight and was very, very competitive. But, that's probably the best performance of his career. Berrio is a tough game guy. I put him in his last fight. He's got an excellent trainer in Nelson Lopez. Nelson's been around boxing for 40 years. He actually trains fighters in Kazakhstan that he's paid by a consortium to train some of these world-class Olympic fighters as well as professionals. So he certainly made an impact on Berrio's career. But what can you do with the guy at this point in his career that's already had, 20-something fights?
Jhon Berrio in the ring right now, and his music fades out, and the ring entrance is about to begin for Peter Manfredo Jr. The lights dim, and get ready to hear the Twin River Event Center just explode for the local boy who made good. In 2005, Peter Manfredo ventured onto the Contender reality TV series. In the very first fight ever contested on that show, he lost to Alfonso Gomez in a 5-round bout. At that point, people didn't know where Manfredo was going to go. However, a few weeks later, when another competitor on the show, Jeff Frazier, another New England native, contracted the chicken pox and was unable to compete, Manfredo was asked back onto the series, went on an extended winning streak, including winning a rematch over Alfonso Gomez, found themselves in the Contender Championship against Sergio Mora in Las Vegas. He lost the decision to Mora in that fight. They had a rematch where he once again lost the decision. However, a much more competitive and some would say controversial outcome when Sergio Mora was awarded the decision in their second fight. Manfredo was fighting at middleweight during that time. He moved up to super middleweight, had highlight reel knockouts of former title challenger Scott Pemberton and crosstown rival Joey Spina, got himself a title shot against Joe Calzaghe, and was stopped within 3 rounds in a fight many felt he wasn't given a fair shake. If you look back at the tape, I'm not saying Peter Manfredo would have won that fight. I am saying that it was stopped ridiculously prematurely. He bounced back, was here at the Twin River less than a month later, where he knocked out a journeyman by the name of Ted Muller, and has been an active competitor since. After the Bika loss we mentioned earlier, dropped down to middleweight, and right now he's riding an extended winning streak into this fight with Jhon Berrio.
Peter Manfredo's career reads like a really dramatic movie about a boxer. He's had a fantastic, interesting career against top-notch fighters, and we're looking to see the final chapter soon.
Well, before we get to the official introductions, we'll honor America with a singing of the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light whose broad stripes sing bright stars to the perilous fight. All the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare of my bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner of the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Now Jhon will give us the official ring introductions for our main event.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for your main event of the evening. 10 rounds of boxing in the middleweight division. This non-fight battle is proudly brought to you by Berrio's Classic Entertainment and Sports in association with Tabella Entertainment. Your 3 judges scoring from ringside on a 10-point must system are Dr. Fox San Martino, Wayne Lima, and Eddie Spencio. And your referee in charge of the action most of the rings is Joey Lupino. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner to my left, he's wearing black with white trim, he weighs in at 151 pounds. 159 pounds. His professional record reads 15 victories, 7 defeats, with 11 big wins coming by way of knockout. He comes to us from Monterrey, Colombia. Please welcome Jhon Berrio. And his opponent, fighting out of the red corner to my right, he's wearing the Italian flag colored trunks of green, white, and red. He comes in at 161 pounds. He enters the ring tonight with an impressive record of 35 victories, 6 defeats, with 20 big wins coming by way of knockout. From Providence, Rhode Island, where he achieved stardom, becoming a finalist for the Contender, and now the winner of the IBO Middleweight Championship, the pride of Providence, Peter Manfredo Jr.
The scouting report on Jhon Berrio is that he's a tough guy who comes to fight, should hang in there for a few rounds, and some ringside observers say they wouldn't be surprised if this fight does go the distance.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either. Berrio's a tough guy. He's very, very game. But if Peter boxes him, puts his punches together from the outside, and walks Berrio into shots, then Peter's got an excellent chance of getting him out of there.
And it should be noted, Peter Manfredo, 19 knockouts and 35 wins. Not the gaudiest of knockout percentages in the world, but if you stand right in front of him, he can be a hellacious knockout puncher.
Oh, absolutely. And the thing with Peter is he's accurate. He puts together nice combinations and he lands them. He's not a really busy guy, but he's a smart fighter. He knows when to throw punches. Peter's not a guy that's going to lunge. Right there, okay? Landed a lead left hook. It's not easy to land from the outside. He stepped in to land it. Peter throws his punches at the right time with his feet under him.
Well, Manfredo boxing thus far.
Come on, Peter. Let's go, Peter. Let's go, Peter. That's right. Come on, Peter. Come on, Peter. Big shot.
Manfredo always enjoyed fighting at home. Can sleep in his own bed the night prior to the fight. Can enjoy his grandma's cooking after the weigh-in. Things he speaks of highly.
You know, some fighters can train at home, some have to go away to training camp in order to stay focused. Peter's one of the rare guys that can stay at home and have a training camp, you know, and go home every night after the gym.
Has a wife and kids, likes to be around for them.
You know, and they're good support for him. It's not as though he's got, you know, he's got people nagging him to do this and that. Peter stays focused. You know, when he's in training camp, it's just the same as, you know, as if he was going to a regular job, like you alluded to earlier. You know, boxing is his job. You know, he takes it seriously. He can be at home with his family. He doesn't need to be up in the mountains away from everybody. You know, he's here for a reason, and he knows it.
His oldest daughter famously said on season 1 of The Contender, "We're not done yet," after he lost to Alfonso Gomez, and I think the same thing can be said in regards to his career tonight as he takes on Jhon Berrio. And Manfredo up against the ropes right now. In the first round of Manfredo's most recent fight against Angel Hernandez, Hernandez actually won the opening round by pressuring Manfredo up against the ropes on pretty much everyone's scorecard.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it was a fantastic fight, and you know, Peter really did a nice job turning things around. You know, Hernandez,
Manfredo didn't lose much of that fight after that first round.
No, Peter was able to box once he made the adjustment, and he'll do that. Peter's always going to have a little bit of a cautious first round, and then his father's going to tell him what to do and make the proper adjustment.
And nice left hook by Manfredo.
You know, and as you can see, Berrio's a game guy. He's in there throwing hard shots. You know, he gets a little bit close. Not the most skilled guy in the world, maybe a little bit crude in his abilities, but he's certainly game and is going to be in there throwing punches for real.
Let's go, Peter, get him! Work the jab, kid, let's go.
During his comments at the pre-fight presser yesterday, Manfredo said that when he heard Jhon Berrio say, "I'm here to fight and I'm here to win," Manfredo said it brought a smile to his face because he would want nothing more out of an opponent.
Both fighters have excellent corners. Peter Manfredo has his father in his corner. Peter Sr., an outstanding trainer, fantastic strategist, and a guy that can really inspire you in a fight. Peter has worked many corners with me, with my fighters, and he's a guy that you know, knows how to keep his fighter focused on what he's doing, as well as get him really fired up and gain the psychological edge.
Outside of his son, Peter Manfredo Jr., Peter Sr. has also worked with Jesse Brinkley, former Contender alum, who fought Lucian Bute for a super middleweight world title a few weeks ago. Also works with Edwin Rodriguez, an undefeated super middleweight prospect who's been featured on the Showtime network recently, looking impressive in a win last week, actually, against James McGirt Jr., probably his best win to date.
You know, an excellent stable, all guys in a very, very similar weight class, and great work for his son, Peter.
We're in the second round of a scheduled 10-rounder. Peter Manfredo in the Italian trunks, Berrio in the black trunks with the white trim. Peter Czymbor and Mark Vaz ringside.
Peter brawling a little bit, but intelligent brawling. Every time he punches, he's moving his head, he's bringing his hands back up. Berrio's loading up a little bit, maybe holding a little on the inside, as Manfredo's very effective. Berrio trained and managed by Nelson Lopez from West Palm Beach, Florida. Veteran boxing guy, very talented trainer, assisted by his son Nelson Jr.
Nice
Manfredo,
left hook.
nice little double left hook down and up.
Yeah, Manfredo snuck that one in there. And snuck
Nice
in a
little
right
uppercut.
uppercut as well, followed by a left hook. That got Berrio's attention and the crowd's.
You know, but Berrio gamely fires back. What's heating up to be a very exciting little fight. Berrio pressing forward, but Manfredo effectively counterpunching.
Turn him, Pete, turn him. Come on, Pete. Jab, jab. Get back to that jab. Let's go.
Berrio had been originally slated to fight Demetrius Andrade before ESPN went off the air, and a scheduling conflict unfortunately canceled the fight.
And Demetrius Andrade, another Providence native, 2008 United States Olympian, prospect right now unbeaten in the junior middleweight division. If that fight ever does happen, Berrio acquainting himself with the state of Rhode Island and the city of Providence as we come to an end of round number 2. The most telling punch of the first 2 rounds, in my opinion, has been Manfredo's left hook. He's landed it with success in the first and second rounds.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's mixing it up nicely too. He's counterpunching with it, as well as landing it up and down to the head and the body.
Visit www.doctoresther.com or call 201-275-2225.
Well, the third round has been the round in which Peter Manfredo's 2 most highlight reel knockouts have occurred. I'm talking about his knockouts that came consecutively against Scott Pemberton and Joey Spina. We enter round number 3 between Peter Manfredo and Jhon Berrio here in Lincoln, Rhode Island.
You know, Manfredo, always a good sportsman, touches gloves as they go out. You know, Peter's a guy that respects his opponents, you know, and he's got a lot of respect for Berrio. Berrio is in their game. He's trying, he's throwing hard punches. He's not in here to lay down. He's here to win this fight. And he believes he can. He's got that confidence of a puncher.
Come on, Pete. Uppercut. Uppercut.
Manfredo working inside, staying close out of the danger zone.
And Berrio is trying to warn to the ref about headbutts. And it looks like Berrio is trying to make this fight a little bit ugly.
You know, that's Berrio's style. He's a mauling, brawling kind of guy. You know, he wants to stay close. He kind of lunges in a little bit. You know, his head is a little bit ahead of his front knee, so he does tend to come in a little head first.
So even though Berrio's the one complaining about the clashing of heads, he's sort of the one leaning in to cause that to happen.
He is kind of instigating it. You know, Peter, you know, when he's on the inside, you know, he's going to do the right thing. When you're on the inside with a fighter, you want to be the guy that's underneath. So as Berrio's leaning in, Peter's trying to get underneath him. Nice little short left hook on the inside by Peter.
And Berrio walked into one before that.
You know, Peter's solid defense in there. You know, even in close, Peter knows how to keep his head in the right position. As you can see, Peter's such a well-schooled fighter. You know, he knows where to be where he's not going to get hit clean. You know, nice little looping right hand in there.
Use that jab. Use the jab. Keep him away.
Berrio's got a consistently good chin, though.
And another left hook by Manfredo. Berrio just walks into it, almost like Ricky Hatton walked into a check left hook from Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah, as Berrio comes in with kind of a looping right hand, it's a little bit slow when he's lunging with it, and his chin is way ahead of his front knee. It really gives Peter a great opportunity for that counterpunch.
Manfredo fighting off the ropes, turns himself out of that position as his fans began chanting his name.
But still fighting effectively.
Third round comes to a conclusion. Manfredo appears to be in charge.
You know, Manfredo's boxing real well. Even though he's on the inside, he's still boxing. You know, a guy doesn't have to necessarily box on the outside to be effective and be good defensively. You know, Peter's been able to be defensive on the inside, keeping his hands up, keeping his head over on Berrio's shoulder, just out of position of the power shots, and he's been very effective. I give Peter all 3 rounds.
My scorecard would concur, as we'll be entering round number 4 of this 10-round middleweight contest. The pride of Providence, Peter Manfredo, taking on Colombia's Jhon Berrio here on NESportsTV.com online pay-per-view. Peter Czymbor and Mark Vaz calling the action ringside. Who would you say is the best fighter to come out of Colombia?
There's been some good Colombian fighters. Victoriano Sosa, who held the world title for a while, you know, was a guy that comes to mind right away. None of them, for some reason, seem to have a lot of longevity, though. You know, I think when they finally leave Colombia, they're so built up that when they finally step up, it's generally a pretty short run. But you know, there's a guy that that had a great fight against Paul Spadafora, who we were talking about earlier, and you know, had a decent little career for a while there.
In recent years, the poster child for Colombian power punchers has been Edison Miranda.
Yeah, you know, and another guy that once he started losing, though, kind of went downhill really, really fast. You know, as tends to be a little typical.
He's gotten a few title shots, but come up short each time.
He did. Always an exciting guy, though. I've not seen very many Colombian fighters that weren't exciting every time out. Good action on the inside. Manfredo throwing nice short chopping shots to the body. Berrio loading up when he can give himself a little room. But Peter effectively smothering him as well.
Now notice their heads are grazing.
They are. Peter's trying to keep his head over onto Berrio's left shoulder, a little bit out of danger, keeping him away from the right hand.
Berrio landing a nice right uppercut followed by a left hook as they are starting to brawl a little bit. Jhon Berrio's game plan of mauling turning into some brawling here in Lincoln, Rhode Island.
You know, and probably not what Manfredo Sr. really wants in this fight. I think he'd prefer to see his son boxing a little bit more, using his jab perhaps. But again, Peter's never walked away from a good fight.
Well, I think we saw an example of Manfredo trying to hit and not be hit just there as he dodged wide punches from Berrio, came back with a right uppercut of his own.
You know, Peter's inside brawling, but he's brawling effectively. He's keeping his hands up nicely, he's moving his head enough, and he certainly is the more effective guy, the more accurate guy. But Berrio is live in here, he's game, and he's fighting like hell. A very solid, entertaining fight.
Warning from official Joey Lupino comes to both fighters for holding. Wild right misses from Berrio.
Nice right hand by Manfredo on the inside. As the round ends, good effective work by Manfredo. And a very game effort by Jhon Berrio.
Services to both businesses and residential homes. For better service at a discount, call Safeguard Pest Control today. And fight fans following the main event tonight. Join us at the Sapphire.
Looking at both fighters on their stools between rounds, both guys appear to be in excellent condition. Neither guy's breathing hard. They both look fresh and ready to go.
Peter Manfredo Jr. recently signed with the influential promoter out of New York, Lou DiBella, who also trains, amongst others, welterweight titleist Andre Berto and middleweight champion Sergio Martinez. As long as Manfredo gets done what he needs to get done tonight, I'm sure DeBello can get him into some very big fights in the very near future.
Yeah, Lewis planning on an ESPN main event for Peter in possibly January. Granted that he gets through this without any cuts or anything that would prevent him from fighting that soon. And then, with any luck, a title shot early next year.
And the titleist that they're angling towards is Sebastian Sylvester out of Germany, who holds the IBF middleweight crown.
Sylvester recently defended his title successfully, and Peter is a top 10 guy in the IBF. It would be a natural fight for him. Never afraid to travel to the other guy's hometown. Peter would certainly not hesitate to travel to Germany to fight Sylvester.
And it's a fight that you feel is winnable, Mark. Oh,
absolutely, yeah. I think Peter's very, very competitive in that fight. I think that's a fight that could go either way. It's a different style for him. Here, Peter's got in front of him a guy that's just a walk-in brawler. Not a guy that's going to box, but is going to just fall in and come in head first a little bit and makes for a little bit sloppier of a fight. If you recall when Peter fought Angel Hernandez, who was a little bit more a brawler, but more of a boxer, more of an upright guy, he was able to box and use his jab effectively, punch in combinations a little bit more. Sylvester's a little bit more of that type of a fighter, a little bit more conventional of a boxer, and he's going to really kind of complement Manfredo a little bit more than making it a brawl like Berrio is. Not that it's not an extremely entertaining fight, it surely is.
With Manfredo's current winning streak that he's riding coming into this fight in the middleweight division, certainly would be a valid challenger for a middleweight title. Interestingly, not too long ago, when he was several years removed from having even fought at middleweight, he was mentioned as a possible opponent for then middleweight champion Kelly Pavlik due to Manfredo's name recognition and fan base that he accrued from appearing on The Contender and on national TV over the years.
Yeah, absolutely. That would have been a terrific fight. I think Peter would have been very competitive with Kelly. He'd have stayed in close with him. They were in the same kind of amateur class, that class of 2000 that also produced Jermaine Taylor and Jeff Lacey for that matter. And oddly enough, though, they, in spite of being in the same class and in the same tournaments for years, they never ended up fighting in the amateurs. I asked Peter recently about that, and they always seem to be in different brackets. Peter did fight Jermaine Taylor 3 times in the amateurs, however.
And Manfredo with some nice work here towards the tail end of round 5. And him and Berrio swing as the bell sounds. So through 5 rounds, Peter Manfredo in control here in Rhode Island.
In control in a very entertaining fight. Berrio is here to fight, and he's doing enough to not win, but make it a fun fight to watch. He's a really game guy. He's in there trying, and he's giving Manfredo a damn good bit of work.
Yeah, scouting report on Berrio accurate thus far.
No, absolutely. Game guy, a little bit awkward, but but certainly tries. Tends to load up a little bit with everything and fall in a bit, so he gives Manfredo some really nice opportunities for uppercuts and hooks on the inside as he comes in lunging with that right hand.
But remember, it was the last time that a Colombian fighter was in the main event here at Twin River. Jose Luis Herrera, the heavy underdog, stopped the then unbeaten cruiserweight prospect Aaron Williams in the 6th round. With that, we enter round 6. Peter Manfredo and Colombia's Jhon Berrio.
Both good sportsmen, and I think they both appreciate the effort that each is giving. They've touched gloves at the beginning of every round. Peter's starting to put a little bit more on his punches now. I think he feels as though he might have taken some of the steam out of Berrio and maybe is seeing some opportunities to maybe wear him down a little bit more and get him out of there. Peter's really digging those body shots in now. But Berrio, not to be outdone, lands a nice uppercut, partially blocked by Manfredo.
Left hook once again proving successful for Manfredo.
Peter's looking good with that left hook. He's very accurate with it. He's landing it up and down. And he's not getting hit often. He's moving his head nicely, keeping his hands up. I see a little bit of blood on Manfredo's back. Expect it from Berrio's mouth or nose, perhaps.
It looks like there's some blood trickling down from the top of Berrio's forehead.
Yeah.
Not too much, but a little.
No, he may have a little cut inside of his hairline. Berrio lands a little uppercut in there as Manfredo spins off the ropes. Comes back with some effective body shots.
And Berrio sneaks in an extra Suzy Q shot on the break.
Berrio with a little bit of a headbutt in there. Catches Peter over the left eye.
And we're seeing a lot of blood come out of the mouth of Jhon Berrio right now.
Yeah, his mouthpiece is red as well, but he is definitely bleeding from inside. Oh yeah, it's running pretty good now.
Let's go, Pete. Use the jabs. Stay outside. Let's go.
Berrio with swelling under both eyes as well, as results of the accurate punching of Peter Manfredo.
Right there, Peter. Go, go.
And round 6 comes to a conclusion, and as Jhon Berrio walks over to his corner, spits out a substantial amount of blood from his mouth.
Yeah, Berrio's cut inside the lip for sure. Mouthpiece full of blood as he takes it out. From the effective punching of Peter Manfredo.
Yeah, through 6 rounds, Manfredo has clearly landed the cleaner, more crisp punches and more effective shots for that matter. Jhon Berrio's done his best to maul and make it an ugly fight, the type of fight he feels would be beneficial to him, but Manfredo's beat him every round.
Yeah, absolutely. And that round, Peter started really sitting down on his punches and putting them together. He didn't rock Berrio, but he got his attention. You know, he's starting to break him down a little bit more. You know, as much as Berrio is game, Peter's starting to really take over now. I think he broke him down and chipped away early on, maybe had a little bit of fun. Now he's in there really putting his punches together.
And it looks like there's some discussion in the corner of Jhon
Looks like
Berrio.
Berrio is not going to come out.
Manfredo yelling at him, saying, "Let's go, let's go." Is the fight over? Is it still continuing?
I don't believe that Berrio wants to continue, or Berrio's corner wants to stop the fight.
Well, that is it. Referee Joey Lupino waves off the action. Peter Manfredo with a TKO over Jhon Berrio after Berrio is unable to answer the bell for round number 7.
Yeah, Berrio had a bad cut inside his mouth. He was taking a lot of shots. You know, as I said, in that last round, Peter started really setting down on his punches and throwing punches for real. And I think that all the blood that Berrio swallowed and the shots that he took in that last round is probably a pretty good decision by Berrio in his corner. Nelson Lopez, a good, solid veteran trainer and a compassionate guy, made the right call.
Well, what particularly did you like from Peter Manfredo tonight, Mark? As we mentioned, he really didn't lose too much of any round. I had him winning every round up until the stoppage.
Absolutely. You know, he was very cool, took his time, nice defense, moved his head well. You know, fought on the inside, but fought intelligently on the inside. You know, good, smart fight. Didn't use his jab, but you know what? It's kind of hard using a jab on a guy that's lunging in, head down, you know, with big bombs. So he fought the kind of fight that he needed to against a guy like Berrio. He made the right adjustments, and when he saw that he had an opportunity to close the show, he really took over, put some hard punches together in the 6th round, and caused Berrio to stay on his stool after the 6th round.
Well, Manfredo can breathe easy. He's got a date on ESPN, a fight card from Florida coming in January. Nothing that happened tonight should change that, barring any unforeseen injuries to us ringside observers. And then maybe at some point in 2011, a title fight against Sebastian Sylvester.
Yeah, Peter deserves it. He's worked hard. He's had a great year. He's ended his year very strong. 3 good wins this year, as well as a change to Lou DiBella, one of the best promoters in boxing.
Well, we'll try to get a word with Peter Manfredo after our official announcement of the verdict.
Ladies and gentlemen, the blue corner, Jhon Berrio, stops this contest because of Berrio having broken ribs. Therefore, your winner by TKO victory at the end of round 6, the IBO middleweight champion, Pride of Providence, Peter Manfredo Jr.
Steven! I don't want that. How you doing, buddy? How you doing, Get out of there.
Fight fans, once again, we'll see you at the Sapphire Lounge for the official homecoming game after party. And mark your calendars for Thursday, December 2nd. You're not gonna want to miss that main event between Danny Upgrade Lozon and his bitter rival, David the Omen Trice. See you on December 2nd at the Sapphire Lounge. Have a good night, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, Pete.
All right, AnySportsTV.com online pay-per-view. Peter Czymbor here with Peter Manfredo Jr. It's the first time fighting in your home state of Rhode Island in about 2 years. How'd you like that fight?
It was great. I didn't like the fight. It wasn't exciting for the crowd, obviously, but it was some work. I had a fight January. I was kind of protecting my head. He come in wild. I don't want to get cut. I got a big fight in January, so no excuse though, but I did what I had to do to win the fight. I broke his rib. I was hitting pretty hard to the body.
Yeah, they did announce after the fight was concluded that the reason Berrio quit in the stool was he says he has broken ribs. It also looked like he had a substantial amount of blood building up in his mouth. It seemed like you couldn't miss with the left hook tonight.
No, I couldn't miss the left hook. Uppercuts on the inside. He was game. He wanted to keep me close. He didn't want to leave me at my length. I could have used my jab a lot more, but I just wanted to protect, like I was saying, wanted to protect myself because he came in with his head. So I kept my hands up close and just kept in close body shots, and I ended up hurting him.
Mark?
Yeah, you looked as though, for the first 5 rounds, you really took your time, you were patient, you picked your shots. But then in the 6th round, things changed a little bit. You started really digging down on your shots. It looked as though you kind of had the idea that you could really hurt him now.
Yeah, definitely. First couple of rounds, I wanted to feel him out, see what he had. I never seen him. I watched him on, I think, YouTube a little bit, only 1 round or 2 rounds of him, and I got enough, and I knew he was wild and wide. And I just wanted to feel him out in here tonight, and then when I noticed I could get him and I wasn't going to get hurt, I started really digging down on my shots, and I knew I was going to get him out of there in the later rounds.
Looked as though you guys had a lot of respect for each other, kind of like you were having fun in there. Before every round, after every round, you still touched gloves. Looked like it was, it was a good night for you overall, like you enjoyed it.
Well, yeah, exactly. Professional boxing, we're not animals, you know what I mean? We're athletes, and I give everybody that steps in this ring respect, and they deserve it. And we do what we have to do when we get in here. We beat each other up, but at the end of the night, we're all athletes. We're not trying to hurt each other. We're just trying to, entertain the fans.
An entertaining, great fight it was. He made for a good fight for you. Congratulations. Looking forward to seeing you on ESPN in
I
January.
appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Peter, that was a fight where you clearly won every round, but it was still a very physical fight. Jhon Berrio was mauling you, trying to make things interesting, make it ugly a little bit. Was there anything in there that may prevent you from that ESPN date, which is scheduled for January in Florida?
No, I think that's why it made for a boring fight. You know what I mean? I just was calm, patient, and I knew the time would come when I got him out of there. I didn't want to hurt anything or get anything, throw any wild shots and get caught with anything stupid. So, you know, it made for an ugly fight for the fans. They were booing and everything. That's the first time I ever had that in this arena. But, you know, it happens in boxing. You're going to get all styles and all types of fighters. But, you know, we prevailed, and that's what professionals do. We prevail. That's why we're champion.
Is the plan still in 2011 to try to get IBF middleweight champion Sebastian Sylvester in the ring? I know the IBF title means something to you since it's the first belt that Vinny Paz won, local legend here in Rhode Island. That's still the plan?
I would love to get it, but I would love to go after any title, you know. It's about making money. That's what the game is about. I got a family to support and protect, and, you know, whoever comes up with some money, I'm there.
Peter, any final words for our viewers before we let you go?
I just want to thank my fans out there all around the world for buying the fight. You know, it wasn't the prettiest fight, but this is boxing. You ain't going to get a pretty fight every time. It's professionalism, and thank you for watching. Stay tuned for anything big in the future. I love you.
Class act and victorious tonight, Peter Manfredo Jr. Peter, we'll let you go. We'll bring in your father, Peter Manfredo Sr., get his thoughts on the fight.
There you go. He loves to talk.
Peter, what'd you see out of your son tonight that you liked?
The endurance part, he were moving with the feet on the inside. Sometimes he wasn't taking the full turn, but then when he was pretty accurate with his punches. I mean, the guy kind of smothered him, and he was using his elbows a lot. It was kind of a sloppy fight because of the holding and the smothering, but he did what he had to do to win. I mean, the guy, he broke his ribs, so, and we'll take it. It's another win. It's another stoppage, and it's another step forward.
We've got two trainers in the ring right now here on AnySportsTV.com. Peter Manfredo Sr. and my color commentator Mark Vaz. Mark, from one trainer to another, what did you see out of Manfredo tonight that you liked?
I tell you, I thought his defense on the inside was great. You know, he kept his head on Berrio's left shoulder to keep away from that right hand and still give him the leverage on the left hook to the body. You know, he put his punches together nicely, and as I commented to Peter earlier, it looked like, you know, after breaking him down nicely for the first 5 rounds, in the 6th round, he saw that he had him and went out and really started throwing punches with bad intentions, and that's when he really hurt him and ended the show. He stopped just picking away and started really chopping him down.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to go much longer. That's why I said to him, you know, keep doing what you're doing. In 7, 8, 9, he'll be ready to go, you know. And sure enough, you know, he was breaking down. I mean, you know, they're saying he's got a broken rib, so we'll take it. You know, it's a win. It's a step in the positive, and yes, he did, you know, work his head down nice on the inside, like he was moving shoulder to shoulder. I mean, you know, the inside, he really didn't get hit with much tonight, Peter. So, you know, and then Berrio was a game guy. He came to throw, he came to fight, he came to win. So he put his game plan in effect, you know, which was to smother him and see if he can beat him on the inside with his strength and his pushing and his holding, and it didn't prevail.
Peter, your son tonight was victorious. Last week on Showtime, your other charge, Edwin Rodriguez, had his career best win against James McGirt Jr. on Showtime. It's got to be a good time to be you.
Yeah, I want more wins. I would have been nice if I could have pulled it off with Jesse in Canada, but you know that was a little bit too much of a step. And yeah, it's nice right now. I know Thomas won tonight, and I got Toka going to fight in a couple of weeks, and you know he's one of the best amateurs in the country right now. Just won the National Golden Gloves, and he's number 4 in the U.S. Championship. So maybe I could do something with him. And I'm not Freddie Roach, but I want to. Hey, Freddie, I'm coming. I'm going to be there.
Congratulations, Peter.
Thanks, Mark.
Great talking with you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, we'll get to the back.
That's Peter Manfredo Sr. joining us here on AnySportsTV.com. Once again, Peter Czymbor and Mark Vaz here. Mark, final thoughts on tonight. We saw a very interesting 4-round heavyweight fight between Winston Thorpe of South Carolina and Jesse Barboza from Massachusetts. We saw Peter Manfredo take another step towards maybe getting a fight with Sebastian Sylvester next year for a major world title. Good night all in all?
Terrific night all in all. Some very entertaining fights. Even the ones that were early knockouts were still a lot of fun while they lasted. You know, that heavyweight fight, you know, has to be New England Fight of the Year. And I thought, you know, Peter thought that he fought kind of an ugly fight even though he got the win. I don't agree. I thought he fought an entertaining, fun, enjoyable fight to watch and got the win.
Yeah, I didn't hear the boos he was talking about, actually.
I didn't either. I think the audience was on their feet. Berrio made it a very entertaining fight. He threw hard punches the whole time. Peter boxed nicely on the inside, was slick, was smart, and you know, I thought it was a terrific performance for him all in all.
Well, for everyone here at anysportstv.com, it's been an entertaining evening. We saw Mariusz Wach continue his unbeaten ways, the Polish heavyweight, as he had a highlight reel knockout of Missouri's Galen Brown. We saw an entertaining 4-round heavyweight fight between Massachusetts' Jesse Barboza and Winston Thorpe end in a draw. And we saw Peter, the Pride of Providence, Manfredo, make his return to Rhode Island successfully with a stoppage victory over Columbia's Jhon Berrio. For everyone here at www.anysportstv.com, online pay-per-view, my technical advisor, Ed Anderson, our cameraman, Dan Mio, my colleague, Mark Vaz, I'm Peter Czymbor. We thank you for ordering tonight's pay-per-view. We hope to see you again. Remember, if you missed any of the action early on, there will be a replay Saturday afternoon at 4:30 for everyone who has purchased the pay-per-view here at anysportstv.com. Until next time, we'll see you at the fights. Take care.